Psych!
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Every single report just got way more credible. We've been covering over the last couple of weeks everything going on with Warner Bros. And Discovery Ownership Group being extremely critical of CNN in its current state, canceling funding, the reports that Brian Stelter is most likely going to be out of a job by the end of spring, and that Warner Bros. Discovery is not happy with Brian Stelter whatsoever. In fact, they called him Jeff Zucker's henchman and called him a cancer on the network. We've been covering the stories of Chris Wallace, supposedly or allegedly based on reports, quote, having daily mental breakdowns as CNN Plus continues to crater. The numbers officially came out 2 days ago that CNN Plus was expected to hit 2 million subscribers in their first 2 years, or in their first year, excuse me, but on their massive launch, which they spent $300 million advertising with Chris Wallace as the headliner, they only collected a measly 150,000 subscribers, even with slashing the price on their subscription fee by 50% on day one. 150,000 subscribers, 2 million expected. Well folks, 2021 and 2022 continues to be the year or the era of breaking records in all of the wrong direction for Democrats, as Joe Biden breaks record after record in all the wrong ways, making Jimmy Carter look like the greatest president of all time. CNN and CNN Plus might have just broken a record for the fastest ever Get Woke Go Broke event we have ever seen. Folks, it's been less than a month since CNN Plus launched, $300 million down the tubes, and we're now getting reports that Warner Bros. Discovery just axed the entire streaming platform to be shut down on April 30th. Let's just say Chris Wallace ain't too happy. Let's just say this little clip right over here didn't exactly age well.
A trusted television journalist with over 50 years experience in politics and world events, and now he's streaming.
We have a lot to talk about.
What an absolute joke. Chris Wallace left the biggest network on TV, Fox News, probably left behind millions of dollars a year in salary to become the king of the dump, the king of the dumpster, known as CNN and CNN Plus. Let me update you guys on everything that's going on here. It is truly spectacular. I knew CNN Plus was going to be a disaster, but this is far beyond expectations, and it adds more credibility to every other report. Most likely these reports that we've been hearing that Brian Stelter is to be out of a job by end of spring, well, those just got a whole lot more credible. We got a lot to talk about, but of course, before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look at this. And a couple things to point out here. This article is brought to you guys by CNN Business, and it's written by Oliver Darcy and Brian Stelter. CNN Plus will shut down at the end of April. Brian Stelter being one of the key figures at CNN, and all the reports of his career basically being on the chopping block on the line. They chose Brian Stelter to then announce it to the world that CNN Plus has officially collapsed. CNN Plus, the streaming service that was hyped up as one of the most significant developments in the history of CNN, will shut down on April 30th, just 1 month after it launched. CNN Plus customers will receive prorated refunds of subscription fees, the company said. So CNN, through their ownership groups, invested over $300 million into this garbage platform, got a measly 150,000 subscribers, most of which subscribed for a year and paid, I think, $50-something for the whole year. I think it was $59.99 if I'm not mistaken. And now CNN has to pay back millions of dollars in refunds, making their losses on the project even worse. Honestly, I think this was a total cash sink. I think probably a large majority, if not close to all of the $300 million invested in the platform, has basically evaporated into the air, into nothing. No ROI, no return on investment. And I mean, what were they thinking? You know, if they had developed CNN Plus during the height of the Trump years, where CNN was seeing the biggest numbers they have ever seen, their online subscriptions for their premium articles was at an all-time high. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure they were in the millions of subscribers when it comes to their news website. If they would have launched CNN Plus there, you know, it might have been able to sustain at least through the down years of the Biden era, but the timing is just stupid. I mean, what were they thinking? They've become a national, frankly, a global laughingstock in the news world, barely able to hit 600,000 views on their primetime shows. Joe Rogan doing 15 to 20 times what their biggest hosts are doing on a daily basis. this. The network crumbled nearly 80% since January 2021, and they thought that this was the perfect time to spend $300 million to launch a premium service for their dwindling audience. I mean, how stupid. What an absolutely terrible investment. And speaking of investment, what was Chris Wallace thinking? Making smart investments, understanding a company's financial situation, understanding a company's potential for growth is important not only when investing, but when trying to land a job there. If somebody was to tell me I'm spending $100,000 to go to college to then try to get a job at the Huffington Post or BuzzFeed News, I would respond with, you are out of your mind. That is a terrible investment. Have you looked at their financial statements? Have you looked at all the articles? Have you looked at the fact that they're downsizing? The company is essentially crumbling in front of you. Why would you want to go there? And that's exactly what Chris Wallace did. Being at the biggest network in TV, that is Fox, resigning and saying, I want to go to the sinking ship that is CNN. No wonder the guy's having near daily mental breakdowns. I don't know exactly what his thought process was, but it seems almost like a delusion of grandeur. Like he thought he was some journalistic superstar who could turn the whole thing around at CNN. The moment the name Chris Wallace enters the program or enters the building, well, I, Chris Wallace, will turn this whole thing around. I mean, give me a break. As if CNN watchers want anything to do with Chris Wallace. As if it was enough for Chris Wallace to be slightly critical of Donald Trump throughout his time at Fox News to make him a hero over the left. Once again, it goes to show exactly how out of touch CNN is with their current audience, especially with their online audience. The people who are subscribing to online streaming services aren't traditional TV watchers or the older generations. It's the younger generation, and you went with Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace is essentially the Fox News or CNN version of Chuck Todd at NBC, and we know exactly what the far left and the Twitter left think about Chuck Todd. It's the same thing for Chris. I said this before and I will say it again. If CNN Plus wanted to make a massively successful left-wing online streaming platform, as much as it pains me to say this, it's just true, they should have hired Destiny or Hassan or Vosh or Kyle Kalinske or all these other guys, I forget half of their names, David Pacman. But instead they did what legacy media does, and they're just stuck churning the same names over and over and over again, completely unable to innovate and grow. We're seeing the legacy media in a state of stagnation, and some may even argue that the legacy media is crumbling. Maybe CNN Plus is just the start. Maybe it's foreshadowing for what is to come. Oh, and I thought you guys might be interested in this. Of course, Donald Trump chimed in. Breaking: Trump slams CNN Plus after the platform folds in just 21 days. Statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. Congratulations to CNN Plus on their decision to immediately fold for lack of ratings or viewers in any way, shape, or form. It was like an empty desert out there. Despite spending hundreds of millions of dollars and the hiring of low-rated Chris Wallace, a man who tried so hard to be his father, Mike, but lacked the talent and whatever else is necessary to be a star. In any event, it's just one more piece of CNN and fake news that we don't have to bother with anymore. And man, let's really put that into perspective, folks. 21 days. There are literal short-term lifespan insects that live longer than CNN Plus did. There are fresh products that you put in your fridge with a much longer lifespan than CNN Plus. 3 weeks. They couldn't even make it a month. That has to be the greatest L, the biggest L, the greatest disaster in news media history, and I don't even think anything comes close. It seems as though Warner Bros. Discovery is not playing any games, folks, and most likely, after axing CNN Plus and making Brian Stelter announce it, Brian Stelter himself is most likely to go next, and hopefully Oliver Darcy follows him out the door. That's what I got for you guys, though. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share it as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. I'm going to get back to work. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.